we live?
We're live.
Look at this, David Lee Scales. Welcome back. Dear listener, welcome back to another episode of Noble Rot. This is Noble Rot number 77, and I do believe it's 77th in a row. I don't think we've ever missed a day.
That's remarkable.
I don't think that's actually true. I think we've missed some days, but we really do try to keep the Iron Man streak alive here on the podcast.
Hard to believe it's been over a year.
Yeah, I know. 77. That's like over a year's worth of episodes, isn't it?
It is.
Wild, wild Dave. Well, did you do anything fun over the weekend?
Not in particular. I mean, I did one thing super duper fun, like the highlight of my life now, but I can't talk.
Oh, yeah, good. Man, so you are, I mean, let's not talk about it. Let's not even crack that can, but it is, where does the thing that cannot be mentioned, which part of your heart has it carved out now? Like, let's say the heart has 100%. We're going to go, this is a zero-sum game. There's not infinite amount of space to enjoy and appreciate. So what is the thing that shall not be stated? What percentage does it now have, and where has it carved in? Where has it found the extra?
If we're talking heart, I would say it's only got about 5% of the heart. Because, you know, I got family, I've got other interests, I've got long-standing relationships that need my attention. But if we're talking about my mind, it's occupying 95% of my mind.
So here's the thing with the thing that shall not be spoken. I think this is why it becomes so addicting, because it's fidgety and fussy in a way that, say, surfing isn't, right? Like, I think, and I know of people, Jonah Hill, our great friend Jonah Hill, for example, when he got into surfing, he was obsessing about it, right? There was so much to obsess about, so much to learn about boards, setups, waves. But I feel in surfing, you reach the end of that, like, potential learning arc at some point, right? Like, I mean, you can keep on getting fussier and fussier and fussier with, you know, rail thickness and this, that, and the other thing. But it's not that fun, where it feels like the thing that shall not be stated. You can go fussy and it can still be fun.
So there's definitely a lot of parallels, and I've thought a lot about the parallels now because I am total novice, brand new. It's a plethora of information. You can really, really sink your teeth into it. And it's actually made me start rethinking the surf content that I create, because I am almost too steeped into it.
Yeah.
To where I know how to operate in the steeped in place, but I'm like, man, I think I could refresh it a bit by just attempting to see it through a brand new eyes.
Go nerdier is what I hear you say.
Maybe. Maybe. But I have a theory about why people get obsessed with it when they first discover it. And it is similar to the reason that super wealthy businessmen hire hookers to dominate them. It is when you've kind of, I don't know, become successful or done things well, you want to go find something that will beat you down and remind you of these initial lessons that you learned in life, going through from the beginning. Because both with surfing and the other athletic endeavor that will not be mentioned, you can do it for as long as you want, and you're never going to get as good at it as you would like to be. It's just endlessly humiliating, basically, demoralizing.
I feel, and maybe I'm wrong here, but I can't even speak to it, but it feels like you could have incremental, noticeable, getting better at the thing that shall not be spoken. Whereas surfing, but I guess it's all the same, right? Like, I'm sure you would reach a point at the thing that will not be spoken, and you will plateau, just like we have in surfing.
I think you hit moments of plateau, but then you hit growth spurts or even downturns. Just like, same with surfing. But the thing is, in surfing, you do one good turn. In the thing that will not be spoken, you get one good shot, and it keeps you coming back.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, okay, now I just need 4 of those in a row.
and then I'll be okay.
times 18.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you get one, or in my experience thus far, maybe three over the course of a day. And you're like, those three are the ones that just keep you coming back. And again, in surfing, you do that one turn right and you're just like, whoa, that felt amazing. Let's do that again.
This will be the last we speak of this today, but how has your newfound passion been received both in the household and amongst the friends?
The friends are down with it. They love it because they got another buddy to hang with. And in the household, my wife, I think, also likes that I'm out of the house so far until it becomes a daily thing. Once a week, I think she's fine with me being gone for 4 hours. Um, but then she also loves to be able to make fun of me for being
Okay.
obsessed about something.
Yeah.
So if it ever does come up, or if I say I'm scheduling a timeout on the weekend, she just rolls her eyes and is like, "You're obsessed." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I am obsessed. It
It
is what it
really
is."
is. It's good that you bring this up, and I feel this is not, of course, the grit. You can go catch the grit on Fridays. Uh, and we usually talk, or we have over there, the tools to live by Vare Watches. I feel a tool to live by is sprinkling. If you try to be a perfect husband or partner or spouse or whatever, nobody wants that, right? And so sprinkling in, planting purposeful reasons for them to be annoyed with you is a real key, a real tool to a healthy relationship.
It is. And if you are the one who purposefully plants it, you own the narrative.
Yeah, totally.
It's like if I'm just going about my life like being me, and then she gets annoyed by something, that might hurt my feelings. But with this, I know it is a silly obsession and I'm actually not trying to hide it. I'm almost doubling down, make sure that she sees the magazine I just purchased and that it's laying out so she can see my obsession. So when she calls me out on it, it's kind of like, yeah, it is what it is.
Pleasure for everyone too. It's like you are. It's a bit of theater for the wife, and it is something that you can just go enjoy.
So talking about these parallels between surfing and it, I don't know if you're aware of this, but our good friends at the Surfer's Journal publication,
I do have the golfers golf journal or whatever.
about a decade ago, they
Yeah.
started a sister publication. And James in San Diego, when he heard us on air discussing this, he emailed me and he's like, dude, I know you're not going to be talking about it or whatever, diving deep, but you should get their sister publication because it's really well done. So I took him up on it, and I got to say, it's phenomenal. Like in the way that I used to look forward to the Surfer's Journal coming, and then I would like each night I'd spend 15 minutes and read an article. I don't want to read it all in one sitting, so I'll wait till tomorrow night because that's a nice little 15-minute ritual each night. I am doing the exact same thing with the exact same fervor with this.
I will say that one of those golf journals came to the house the other day. I don't know why it came. There was golf balls that came with it and a Titleist hat, I think. And I was like, oh, who's all this for? Maybe the wife was trying to hint, hint, you need to get out of the house more too. But I don't think it was that. But I saw, and I flipped through the golf journal, or is it the golfer's journal, or just the
Yeah.
golfer's journal?
Yeah.
Yeah, flipped through it, and I was like, know nothing, care nothing, and just kept flipping because it was so beautiful.
Totally agree. Was it this same issue?
No, it was the issue before that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
incredible.
like
photography.
phenomenal photography, just, yeah. I mean, well done them.
Yep, totally agree. It's actually, dare I say it, maybe better done than the Surfer's Journal.
I feel there's something about the static nature of what we're not going to be talking about where you can capture it more, I don't want to say dynamically because it's opposite. It feels like you have more options of how to capture rather than surfing, right? You like, I don't know, or maybe again I'm just barking up the same tree of I've seen basically every version of surf shot. I've seen every angle, and every once in a while they'll come up, somebody will invent the thing where you can see like 360 in the tube or something, and you're like, whoa. And maybe it's just that I haven't looked at the other thing very much. So
Well, I'll tell you where they are getting it, where they're doing it better than the Surfer's Journal, is they've created a social club.
Mm.
So you go onto the website and you join the Broken Tea Society. And they do outings every year. They do, trips together. They have um, merch that is like functional merch. In Surfer's Journal, you can buy a T-shirt or something, but here you can
Yeah.
buy the bag to hold all your stuff and they just go way in. And so, or all in, I should say. So I feel like, okay, I'm a part of this club now. It's like being it's literally the concept of like this
A
sport
virtual
has,
country club.
yes, these sports have these country clubs, but now it's virtual and you can all be a part of it together. And so belonging in that way gives you a jumping off point to kind of start understanding the context.
Have you made a friend yet in that community
No.
that you did not?
And I do not plan to either.
Okay.
But I like dipping my toe in and looking around.
Well, this leads us directly into today's theme for the show, dipping a toe in and looking around. Uh, the theme of today's show is Krash Patel. Krash Patel, or discussions on the over exuberant male. Discussions on the over exuberant male. Krash Patel. So before we get in, though, real quick, going to bang through a few quick headlines just because I think notable. A lot of things going on in this crazy world. Mexico burning. What do you think about that?
I have a good friend who's right outside of Sayulita,
Mm-hmm.
or the airport that you would fly in and out of is Puerto Vallarta. Puerto
Yeah.
Vallarta. So he was giving me intel from thankfully not the front lines. Like
Mm-hmm.
he can't see burning from his place, but it's definitely sketchy. And he had a friend who was at the Costco in town when everything started going down, and he got locked in and had to figure out how to get back home, all that sort of stuff. So very, very scary. But I guess, I mean, you would know the news story maybe better than I, because I actually didn't really look into it other than just hearing from him. But apparently that drug cartel guy had a $10 million bounty on his head. I'm like, that's the biggest bounty I've ever heard of in my life.
Yeah.
And so, sure enough, I guess somebody tried to collect on that bounty, and that threw everything into chaos.
Man, the new generation Jalisco cartel, I think is what it's called, which I had never even heard of this one. Not that I'm daily on the cartel, news ticker, but I saw a photo of their like soldiers of the cartel. And man, oh man, they looked like better than SEAL Team 6. They had
Really?
more, it was like crazy amount of gear, tactical, everything. It was just like bonkers. So I suppose at some point maybe, and maybe in the, when this administration, who knows when it happened, but it feels like the cartel said, hey, we're going to get serious about we're just going to be paramilitary. We have enough money to do it. We have enough, we have resources, we have men, we have ability to do this. Why not just be a full-on army?
Well, they can try their best, but the reality is the actual militaries, government run militaries are so deep into doing R&D on weaponry and intelligence and all that sort of thing, that it's like it's not just a matter of going and buying weapons and then strategizing. I mean, did you hear about the siege to capture Nicolas Maduro and the weapons that we used?
Yeah,
That debilitating, I don't even know what they call
blast or
it.
whatever. Like I don't know if it was sonic or what it was. Nobody, I don't think, knows what it was. But yeah, some shockwave
It
that killed everything.
killed everything and completely disoriented everybody.
Yeah,
So, but you said killed everything,
killed
not
the electronics.
electronics and technology, but not the
Yeah,
humans. So it's
yeah.
actually like a little bit more humane way, I guess, of warfare. But I heard the Venezuelan soldiers discussing it. Some guys like went on the news and talked about it, and they were like, it was unlike anything I've ever experienced. It was almost like alien technology, where it was this, yeah, I don't know again if sonic is the right word, but basically like a silent kind of boom that you lose your sight, you lose your orientation to all of your surroundings. It was very traumatizing. He's like, I wouldn't wish this upon anybody else. So he didn't necessarily ever say pain was induced, or what type of pain it was, but it was more effective than if he had been shot, basically.
I wonder with the cartels actually gearing up full on, again, who knows if that photo or video I saw was representative across the board, but I don't see why it wouldn't be of the cartels, like really thinking, okay, the governments are actually declaring war on us now, right? The war on drugs, I suppose, has been, obviously a forever long thing, but I feel like it's been ramped up in the last few years of actually going after the cartels specifically in treating them like nations or like, enemy operators in a national kind of way. So going after them with military as opposed to police. Uh, and I guess why not for them? Okay, we'll match you, which seems like, yeah, I would imagine that, cartel won't be able to beat a country, but it sure does feel like casualty numbers are going to go through the roof. Like I think it was what I read 60 or yeah, I read it yesterday, but it was like 68 dead to kill El Mencho, to kill the cartel boss. So cost
Crazy.
68 lives.
Well, the other real problem they're going to have is, as I understand it, Mexico's pretty corrupt, even the government, the police force, and, presumably military as well. So, how do you even untie all of that? It's not just there's a faction of cartel that you go and kill, they're in the system.
Does it make you rethink your next trip to Mexico?
I hate to say, but yes, it does.
Oof, yeah. It doesn't me. I was thinking about this. Like, I would go to Mexico tomorrow, right? But maybe that's being naive.
You want to go to Puerto Vallarta tomorrow?
Sure, I'd go to Puerto Vallarta tomorrow. It would be a bummer just because I would imagine you couldn't really do anything, right? I'm sure everything is more or less shut down there now and will be for the foreseeable future. So in terms of going to party, no. But if somebody said, "Hey, you got like we have a business opportunity, you got to go to Puerto Vallarta tomorrow," I'd be like, "Great."
Yeah, I don't think I would. So my wife's company is doing they do like a annual, the best performers go on whatever a trip, and they're doing one to Mexico in 3 weeks, and we're not invited, but we were talking about it. We're like, would we go, or are they going to cancel it even? And I
Yeah.
think as the company, you're probably obligated to cancel it.
So, in something like that, you'd think way better safe than sorry, right?
Totally.
Like if so you go and nothing happens and everybody has a good time and that's great. But that's, a thumbs up. You go and everyone gets killed or one person gets killed and you are now out of business probably because you're going to get so much bad press.
And with work trips like that, celebratory trips, it's everybody drinking anyway.
Yeah,
So it's like somebody, even if you're like on the resort property, somebody gets super drunk and then goes clubbing that night, something bad happens, and it's like, it's bad news.
not worth it. Well, other big headline going here, which baffling to me. I was going to make the whole show about this, but then I thought we probably don't need any more of this. But I'm just baffled, David Lee Scales. I know it's been out since 2020, but you've seen, of course, Filthy Rich.
I've seen, yeah, I've seen the series, but I've seen the Ghislaine Maxwell one and the Epstein one.
Yeah, okay. So I just watched Filthy Rich for the first time. Again, documentary on Jeffrey Epstein, a 4-part series by James Patterson, the author, who was actually a neighbor of Epstein's in Palm Beach. And I knew that Epstein was bad. I knew all of this was bad, but seeing the pictures of the little girls is so shocking, and which then shocked me times 10 of how is nothing happening about this here, right? In England over the weekend, we had both former Prince Andrew and then today Lauren Mandelson both get arrested, and not directly related to sex crimes, but to, sharing proprietary British financial information with Epstein ostensibly as the charge, or I think that what they're going after him for. But here, nothing, like no heads rolling, no nothing. And the amount of like cheeky, like stinking Deepak Chopra, did you read his? Insane. It's not like bring your girls, right? Deepak Chopra directly emailing, and all these guys. And again, there's countless. There's Elon Musk being flirty and stupid about I want to party kind of thing, right? There's that Duke professor, like Dan Ariely, I think his name is, who's asking Jeffrey Epstein about the redhead he was with. They all do plausible deniability. Didn't know the extent of it. I was snowed by him. It's very unfortunate that I did that, right? And that's it. And I'm like, you guys, all of your heads need to roll. All of you need to pay a heavy, heavy, heavy price for the victim's sake.
Did you see the email between Elon's brother and Epstein?
No.
So Elon's brother is a known kind of buddy with Epstein. They spent a lot of time together. You could find photos of them together, all that sort of stuff. And I'm sure there's more than one email, but the one email that I'm referencing is very much implies that they were gay lovers, like they were in a relationship.
That Musk or that
Elon's brother.
Yeah.
So Elon's brother, boyfriend with Jeffrey Epstein. And a lot of it seems like it's that way, but then you get to one line in it, and he's explicitly in the first paragraph or two, he's talking about, "I'm sorry we don't get enough time together. I know I was in a bad mood last time we were together, blah, blah, blah." And then you get to one line where he explicitly says, "Do you think we can go a step back from dating and go to just a more casual version of our relationship? I think that would allow me to, feel more comfortable," or blah, 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 blah. So it's like, and this is not me saying gay is right or wrong or bad. This is me saying the Elon Musk connection to Jeffrey Epstein is much, much tighter than Elon has let on. And not to mention Elon's own emails to Epstein.
Then zero accountability. It is insane to me that anyone who emailed chummily with Jeffrey Epstein after 2008, I'll give them a pass maybe on, unless they were going to the island and participating themselves, or if they saw something. I mean, in Filthy Rich, right? One of the victims talks about everyone in the entire Virgin Islands, tourist industry knew this. His plane comes, it lands. All these young girls, pile out. The baggage handlers knew, the pilots knew, the tourism board people knew, the officials knew who greeted him. The amount of knowing. But let's just say, okay, if you didn't directly see anything pre-2008, you went to have lunch with him or something. You were like rich and he blah, blah. 2008, when you are not charged with, not, exonerated of, but convicted of a charge of solicitation of an underage prostitute, then you got to cut it off with that person, right? Like, and I know he snowed everybody, or they all claim he did. Oh, we didn't know, but if that happens, you better do a little bit of digging. If you, for example, David Lee Scales, got on this podcast today and say, "Oh man, I got some bad news. I just got, I'm going to be doing the podcast from the prison for a little while but I got a sweet sentence. But it was unfair, but it was, the charge was solicitation of an underage prostitute." I wouldn't maybe cut you off on that alone, but I certainly would do some digging about, wait, what, how, and not just ask you. I would go to the court records. I would probably try to, figure out more. The fact that people took his apparently word on, but she was 17 and she told me she was 18. It was like, something like that, where even that case, Bill Gates, Deepak Chopra, all of you guys, go take a long walk off a short pier.
So, I know we could spend the whole show on this. I'm going to try to be super brief. Couple of things that I want to highlight from it, because I think they're when I watched that Filthy Rich thing back in 2020, that was horrific. The stuff that's coming out now actually is, I would say, 5 times more horrific than what was there. So they're going to need to update, and I'm sure there will be new documentaries. But 3 things. Are you familiar with Zorro Ranch?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the cannibalism angle?
I've heard you talk about it, but I haven't heard much in any kind of mainstream reporting.
And then the third thing is Epstein, quote, suicide versus, conspiracy theory about him being dead or being murdered. So I'll address all those real quickly. But first to say, obviously, not everything that's in the Epstein files is verifiable truth. Investigations will need to be done. Let's at least start investigating.
I mean,
But but what I'm saying is, before the Epstein files, I thought there is going to be there will be some truth and there will be some conspiracy theory. What I thought the conspiracy theory, my wildest dreams of the conspiracy theory, turns out that isn't as bad as what we now know is verifiable truth. So the ones that are verifiable truth, backed up with fact and triangulation of information, is worse than what I thought could be the worst conspiracy theory prior. So that's where we're at. That's the starting point. The cannibalistic things, as a kind of circumstantial evidence, he did, for fact, in his homes, both in Epstein Island and in New York, had abortion medical rooms set up and long lists of flight logs and other payments being made with abortion doctors who are coming regular visits to these places. So you compare that with all these survivor FBI inquiries and interviews with survivors who said, yes, I got pregnant X number of times and they extracted the baby from me. I never got to see that baby again, right? Or I got to hold that baby for a period of time, whatever. And then I don't know what happened to that baby. Girls as young as 13 years old, 14, 15 years old. So this is all in the files. Well, what we're also seeing is communications with him and doctors about and guests of parties about the way that baby intestine tastes, whether it has breast milk in the intestine versus formula. Literally talking about the flavor profiles. Also talking about cholesterol in the baby's intestines. So cholesterol,
colostrum, I think.
It's what comes out of breast milk for a newborn baby, basically, in like that first sequence of time. So like brand new baby, brand new mother. And they're talking about how that is beneficial for aging and longevity, or for like anti-aging, basically. So that is what these implications are. And it's not, I mean, the conspiracy around it comes directly from email communications between him and these doctors who are at these major universities who are studying anti-aging and all this stuff professionally and are coming to his house. So then he had a private chef that spent tons of time on the island, Epstein Island. He has a restaurant, or had a restaurant, called Cannibal. So he wasn't serving human meat at the restaurant, but it's also like strangely spot on, you know? So if you look into cannibalism, it isn't just about, somebody who went rogue and ate another body in a murder situation. A lot of it is to do with elites eating a very specific delicacy, thinking that it is enhancing their longevity or their youthfulness or something like that. The other thing is a lot of the survivors, and Virginia Giuffre talks about this in her book, that he was obsessed with creating the ultimate race and the ultimate DNA sequencing. So that also kind of feeds into that storyline of him. And the women, a lot of the survivors actually talked about that. He prioritized blonde hair, blue eye, that sort of thing. And he was trying to get all of them pregnant as well. So those implications are just freaky.
I just don't know how, as a society, as American, right? Because the British feels like heads are rolling over there. People in power have lost important jobs or positions in continental Europe as well. Here, crickets. And is it the American public's fault? Is it just that corrupt where this, we are all living a version of being a victim of the system that his victims had to live under, in terms of what's my voice going to do, right? What am I going to say? Who am I going to go to where I can't do anything about it? So you just feel listless. Like, where is, it's baffling to me that nothing has happened, and we've allowed, as the people of this country, we've allowed nothing to happen.
I've got a potential answer to that, but I'm saving it for my zeros, so I'll come back to it at the end of the show. But I will say the Zorro Ranch thing was his ranch in New Mexico that has tons of land, and based on information in the emails, it seems like they were burying a lot of bodies out there. They also have an industrial grade incinerator on the property that records show was purchased at a certain date and time, and the FBI didn't raid it, to like, almost like intentionally didn't raid it. Clearly they know that it existed. The other thing is, once a bunch of these allegations came out just recently, like during an Epstein dump, when a lot of this came out, the government issued a ban on flying over that airspace for like a 48-hour period. So they think, what the conspiracy theory is that they think whoever the powers are that are in charge of
Went up and dug up the bodies.
trying to cover this up went in there to erase documents or take documents or whatever and clear it all out before the raid happens. Because why would you issue a no flyover?
I mean, it's shocking at so many levels. And to me, this is something that obviously our country is so divided, and people will go spitting back and forth. Well, he's arrested under Biden. Well, they never prosecuted him. Well, Trump is in the thing 3,000 times. I don't care at this point. Right, left.
1.5 million times is the current count.
Right, left, MAGA, crazy, socialist, communist, progressive. This to me is an issue that should unite America. Of, let's go hold whatever this was, anyone involved in this, anyone remotely involved with this, let's go hold them accountable.
I think, look, it's clear as day at this point. This is not left right. This is not left versus right. The left also didn't release these documents because they're just as implicated at every level as the right is. This is not left right. This is top versus down.
But down should get together. Down should get our acts together and figure out, I don't know what to do.
No question about it.
Listener, if there's any idea of what to do.
So my final third talking point was the Epstein death. Obviously, people have said he was murdered. It wasn't suicide. And the reasons they say that is because the body had 3 broken bones in the neck, so a tremendous amount of force. They said they attributed the suicide towards hanging. They never found a noose. There's a 2-minute section of video that's missing from the video of that night outside of his cell. And the other thing is the FBI, or not the FBI, whatever the government body was that reported the initial press release of his death, there's a file in the Epstein files that show that document dated before his death.
Wow.
2 days before his death. They drafted the document, wrote everything out, suicide, all that, and the date is 2 days prior to his death. The exact same document got released to the public at the time with the correct date. But in this Epstein file dump, they have the draft version.
It's insane. It's wild to me. It's disgusting and sickening. But I do think that, I mean, even me, like, again, it's so off-putting that I hadn't until watching Filthy Rich. And again, Filthy Rich is old. David Lee, as stated, a lot of newer stuff. But I think it's important for everyone to at least watch something, because it goes beyond. Even Filthy Rich went beyond my perception of it without paying a lot of attention to it. Like, it's sickening. And these people, Deepak Chopra, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, anyone who was around should be interrogated.
Well, the Clintons are. And I think they did it. They want to do it in front of Congress publicly because first of all, it forces discovery. So a lot of these documents have to come out unredacted. But I think Hillary she is a very strategic politician and attorney. I think she's going to burn Donald Trump to the ground. I think
I mean,
she's been waiting and biding her time, and I mean, trying to do things kind of politically, legally, and they've gotten their backs forced against the wall at this point, and she sees her opportunity as like, oh, we're going to do this publicly. Guess what? We're burning the mother down.
man, well, I'm here for it. Go Hill. Uh, let's get into our theme here, David Lee Scales. Krash Patel or the over exuberant male. Did you see the U.S. hockey team take down Canada for the first American Olympic hockey gold since 1980, the Miracle on Ice team?
I did.
Uh, did you watch it live or did you watch it later? Did you watch the
I did.
highlights?
I got invited over to a party to watch it, and I'm like, I'm not waking up early in the morning to watch hockey. No. So I did not watch it live, but I saw the highlights, and what a spectacular game.
Bars here, the Regal Seagull, I think, in the specific, opened, doors open, 5 a.m. for the game. Man, that's a hardcore hockey person going there. B, I can't imagine, like, you're rooting Team USA, you're at a bar, it's 5 a.m., you're getting boozed, game's over by 7. You leave the bar, you're drunk at 7 a.m. How does the rest of your day look?
Nap time.
I guess so. Because you woke up at 4, I guess, so all good.
Straight to church.
Yeah. But part of though, Kash Patel, instead of investigating Epstein or doing anything for that matter, was at the game all decked out and went into the locker room after and celebrated with Team USA. And he's a little dude, which makes it awkward already. Nothing against short kings, but he's like a exceptionally short king. And just him going berserk, right? Chugging a beer and then spraying it around and then jumping up and down and
Pounding the table.
pounding the table, just didn't know what to do. So he pounded the table and his face just a mask of like ridiculous glee and just over exuberance, right? And I was like, this needs to be addressed, David Lee Scales. We've seen also, and I'm sure we could count many, many other incidents, but another one that comes to mind to me is when Elon Musk got on stage at the Donald Trump thing, right? And it was just over exuberance. He was awkwardly jumping and pumping a fist, and it was just, you watch it and you're like, "Arr." And so we have to talk about this. I think we have discussed well the dancing man, right? Like where there's a time and place in every man's life where being the not dancing dude is lame, right? You don't have to be like, Mr. Put the spotlight on me. I'm going to do the robot in, the center of the room. But you do have to have an ability to move comfortably on a dance floor, not self-consciously, right? There's also times in every man's life, I feel, where the occasion calls for an exuberant response to something. Or does it? Should a man ever be over exuberant? Should a man ever go beyond, like a whistle, a good whistle, a robust clap, I'm going to say a whistle or a robust clap. Should any grown man ever Krash Patel?
So the question, I think specifically is, do you ever let go of all of your inhibition?
Yes.
Because he
There we
let
go.
go in that moment.
Yeah, in that moment. And I'm going to say we're going to say positive moments here, right? Because I'm going to say, of course, there's, somebody near and dear dies. Like I just watched I can't remember if we talked about this already, but watch the Tom Cruise scene at the end of Magnolia again recently, right? Where he's weeping over the bed of his dying father who molested somebody, whatever. Like the emotion in that, and Tom Cruise captures it so beautifully and poignantly, right? I'll say there's always a time, not always, but I have zero judgment for anyone weeping uncontrollably, as long as it's over something that's big, right? If you're weeping uncontrollably because they didn't put Chipotle sauce on your fish taco, that's a bummer. But for tragedy. But okay, so let's only talk about good things happening. Is it okay to ever drop your inhibitions?
I will list a couple of examples when it is. All of them are under your own might, though. So Krash Patel did not win that game. That's
Nope.
why he's not accepted in this moment.
Okay.
But Nathan Hedge this is not a surf show. Nathan Hedge getting blown out of a barrel at Chopu in his heat against Jack Robinson a couple of years ago when he got a wild card as a 45-year-old and he got a 10-point ride on it. You know, like that, as he's still standing on the board, getting spit into the channel, absolutely. You couldn't control your inhibitions if you tried to.
Did you think a little less of him
No.
for going a little too hard? Did you think, I like it, I appreciate that, but you could have dialed it back to an 8?
If he was Kanoa Igarashi doing it on a 2-foot wave after a US Open win, yes, I would have judged him. Because that is for show. You know, that is the audience actually jazzed him into it, all that crowd of people. Whereas Nathan Hedges was between him and Mother Nature. If there was nobody around, that is exactly how he would have behaved.
Okay, great. So I like this so far. So if you win something major on the world stage, let the inhibitions go.
Correct. And I will apply this to the team sport as well, but it doesn't extend into the locker room. So upon the winning goal, of course, celebrate with the team. And you do get caught up in the audience response and all that sort of thing. But once self-awareness kicks in, your inhibition celebration expires.
Dial it back. Okay, so do you judge then the U.S. hockey team that any NBA championship winning, any World Series winning, when they go in the locker room and they're jumping up and down and they're spraying the beer and the champagne and the da-da-da-da, are you thinking, okay, guys, you did that on the court, no need here?
They're different celebrations. You have to use at least a minimum of 10 octaves lower in your voice in the locker room. So if you're out there and the goal happens, you can let out a, you're not going to be judged for the pitch that you hit. Once you're in the locker room, it's like, woohoo, yeah, boys, let's do it.
Okay, good. So it's
controlled.
I get it. Okay, so I'm tracking with you and agreeing with you that you can have the dial at 11 out on the ice. The dial turns back just by the nature of the space, just by the nature that you're closed in, you're in close quarters. Dial turns back to an 8. 8 is appropriate.
8's appropriate. And by the way, it's because you're thinking about turning the dial. You get back to the locker room and you kind of got to jazz yourself up again. You're like, all right, guys, are we doing this? Okay, well, shake something and spray it to get us extra excited. All right, let's go. So you're taking the dial and turning it. When you're out on the court, there was no dial. You just made the goal and all of a sudden you're at a 15.
Maximum. Okay, so I like where this is going because it also means that the dial goes from 0 to 11 when the thing happens. There's no dial. It's just like bing on at 11. Turns back to 8 in the locker room. If you're still at 11 in the locker room, you're weird and that's going to be awkward looking. And now let's go to the celebration parade, right? That happens days or a week later. When you see those dudes celebrating like they're on the court on the parade, it's really awkward. It's really like, hey, tone it down, buddy.
I've never seen them go that hard. Do they?
Yeah, they know better. I mean,
yeah.
Okay, so great. So you win, but real quick, just before we get back to Kash Patel here, crashing in the locker room. So if Nathan Hedge gets that barrel out at Chopu, it's not a contest. Is he allowed to celebrate at an 11?
Even more so, yeah. I don't think it's not controlled. It's in that moment, that specific wave, he's worked his entire life to find himself in that position, not knowing if he would be able to execute. And he just did, and it was just uncontrolled.
I think if you're in the lineup, though, and you see if there's no stakes, right? I mean, there's the personal stakes or the whatever, you bagging a fantastic barrel. I would imagine in the lineup at Chopu, sans competition, if Nathan Hedge came out of that and freaked out, people would be like, oh, why is he doing that? That's a little much.
You got to remember, it's the lineup at Chopu and it's 10 to 12 feet. There was a moment, and many moments in that sequence where he thought he was going to die. The wave's coming. He goes, this wave could kill me. And then he's paddling in, free fall dropping, going, I'm about to die. I can see the reef right there. So him, the exaltation is, I cannot believe I just survived. I was on the brink of death.
Okay. Okay. Now, secondhand, crashing exuberations, being a Crash Patel, is there ever any time that something good can happen that you weren't directly involved with where you can go to 11?
Any of the scenarios that we just outlined, if you were maybe the parent of the athlete,
In the
I
stands.
could see
Okay.
that. I could see that happening as the parent.
Okay.
Um, if you're a sibling, I'm going to say you want to turn it down about 10 degrees or 10%. And if you're a spouse, 10% is probably appropriate as well.
I'm going to also say here, and maybe this is going to be a controversial take. When I see fathers losing their minds, I think, hold it together, man. That's not what made your son and daughter great, is you being a basket case. Let's bring it in. I'm not telling you not to go crazy. Like, wife is there, mother is there, weeping, crying. So that's fine. And I'm, again, going to catch heat for this, for being so sexist. But I feel the dad, has to be some level of rock here.
Look, I think 100% yes for any version of sporting up until the ones we just described. Like if you're at a little
Olympic
league,
gold.
yeah, if you're at the little league game and your kid has the winning grand slam even, you're not allowed to freak out.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
still little league,
Okay.
Even if your kid's in college and he's a college athlete and he does that, you still got to keep it tamped down a little bit.
What if kid first game in the major leagues, made it all the way up to the bigs, pitches a no-hitter in a meaningless game in the middle of the season?
There's an element of celebration that is acceptable, but you can't go all out. You can't Crash Patel.
Yeah. Okay. Outside of sporting, is there any other place to go ham on your exuberance as a male?
I really can't think of one. I've been trying this entire time. I cannot think of one. The what if you, I mean, maybe what if you win the lottery?
But if you jump and down and go crazy, it would still feel inappropriate to me.
If you're at home with your wife and you somehow end up with a lottery ticket, somebody gifts you one for your birthday, and they call the numbers, you read the numbers, and you just found out you won $300 million.
Doesn't jumping up and down and screaming and weeping uncontrollably and finding the next table to finding something to pound with your palm and spraying beer, I feel it would lessen it all.
It would not be my response. I'm going through the thought exercise right now. I would not respond Crash Patel way. Like,
Yeah.
I would be overwhelmed with emotion for sure. And we would be like trying to come to terms with a new reality, but I would not be jumping up and down screaming.
Okay. Morning after the hangover, do you think Crash Patel woke up, saw the memes, saw the videos, saw all of it, and thought, man, I should have dialed that back in. That was a little too much. Or does he think, look at that guy. Look at that guy. Started at the bottom. Now he's here partying in the locker room with a gold medal around his neck.
I think that he's definitely embarrassed. I don't know enough about his backstory or anything, but my perception is that he had no idea what he was in for with this job. He certainly wasn't qualified for the job. I know enough to know that. But the things that he has seen in relation to the Epstein files and knowing the weight of the responsibility associated with it, I would bet he had no frickin' idea what this was going to be. And he is so deep into it and in the cover up. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure you remember 1 year ago, before they campaigned on the promise of releasing the files, once they were in office, the next narrative was there are no files.
Yeah.
Literally, there
Yeah.
are no files. And then he was the one saying this, by the way. He's the mouthpiece. And then, oh, there's nothing important in the files that do exist that we're now admitting exist. There's nothing important. There's nobody who's important implicated in the files. That was the next narrative. So I think that he has had a slow burn of realizing what actually is in them and discovering. And he's carrying all of this is to say, he's carrying this massive, massive weight and responsibility. So what we saw in the locker room was a little bit of transference. He's transferring a win that he didn't earn onto himself for some reason, but it's also popping off because of all the stress that he's been dealing with for so long. Like, this is an opportunity. I got something to celebrate in this one moment, and I'm caught up in it,
going
and
all in.
I need to release the valve.
Okay, do you have any advice before we leave this topic? Do you have any advice for our dear listeners dear listener who finds himself in the position to go crazy?
Yeah, I was thinking about who is the guy that goes crazy, and it is the Krash Patel who doesn't have a hold on things in his life. You're
I
just
agree.
you are a little unanchored, and so you're liable to pop off. If somebody cuts you off, you scream at them, or then you get some win and you do a freak out because you're just unmoored a little bit. So I think the focus would be on finding your own center and anchor that you can feel good about, so that when the big wins or the big losses come, it's kind of water off your back either way.
You don't look like a buffoon at the very least. Well, I think that's great.
It's
Great
undignified.
advice. It was literally his face. I don't know with these people, and they just must have, like, I don't know, they must just not care. Because if a video came out of me celebrating like Kash Patel was in the locker room, I would hang it up. I'd be like, this dude's going to the Hermitage. No more public outings ever.
Um, it's undignified for sure. And I think, yeah, yeah, that's all I gotta say, I
Real
guess.
awkward. Well, anything that you watched this week of note?
I'm glad to share this one actually, because I think you specifically will dig it. It's a film that is now available to stream on Hulu called Urchin.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen it?
No, but tell me more. I like getting urchins in my feet.
Phenomenal. I mean, I watched this last night and I was like, I had something else queued up to discuss, but I was 15 minutes in. I was like, wow, okay. I'm so glad to be able to share this with people. Urchin features the lead in the film is a homeless man in London. His name's Mike, who's having difficulty kind of escaping the chaos of his impulsivity related to substance abuse. So he's homeless, and you really get a sense for what it's like, I should say, unhoused. You really get a sense for what it's like to be in that level of desperation and making, bad decisions. I could rob this person. I'll get enough just to get to the meal, and then if I get the meal, but then you get the couple of good things and you get an opportunity to use again, and then you spiral. So do you remember when we were young, the film Kids?
Yes.
Harmony
That was
Korine?
yeah,
Yeah.
Corinne.
This reminded me of that in terms of like its rawness, like the really unfiltered view of street life and whatever. This is done much, much more masterfully, like direction wise, like, very considerate shots, very planned out. It wasn't like shot on the fly like Kids was. So a much better film, I think, than Kids was, but it reminded me of that same visceral kind of experience from
Kids
watching
really
it.
was a stomach punch, I remember.
Totally. This has elements of that, but it's much, much not nearly as crude in terms of the craft of filmmaking. But it made me laugh too. Like there was lots of comedic moments, made me feel sympathy towards the plight of the unhoused, but also made me really analyze my own stuff. Like his struggles that he's going through are no different than what we're going through, But then what was very interesting was I was like, who wrote this? Who directed this? The kid's name is Harris Dickinson. And I'm like, why does he look familiar? You know who
Love
Harris
Harris
Dickinson is?
Dickinson.
How do you know him?
Harris Dickinson's a phenomenal actor.
Yes.
Yeah, but also I don't think I'll tell you off air.
Okay.
There's something else going on with Harris Dickinson.
Oh, okay.
But we'll talk later.
Okay. Well, so Harris Dickinson, I'm like, that was the kid in Triangle of Sadness.
Yeah,
He was the love interest in Baby Girl. So
phenomenal actor.
he's this young English actor who's done incredible films. He's a great actor, and then wrote, and this is his directorial debut.
Cannot wait. This is going top of the queue. Watching this tonight. Thank you, David Lee Scales. This is my favorite segment.
Perfect. And the actor, his name's Frank Delane, or Delaney, and delivers an Oscar-worthy performance. He did not get nominated, snub in my mind, but I'm like, this will be remembered for a long time.
Where is it?
Hulu, free.
Okay, perfect.
Streaming
Great.
for free.
Great. Gonna watch it tonight. Real quick before we go into Hero and Zero on the movie notes, did you see the big winner or one of the big winners at the BAFTA, British Film, whatever, Television Awards? I don't know what it stands for, the English one. Usually a precursor to the Oscars. I think the BAFTA, whatever won the BAFTA, has won the Oscar last 10 times in a row or something like that. In any case, a movie, I don't know if it was the doco category or what it was, but it was called I Swear. Have you heard of I Swear?
No.
So I Swear is, I don't know, a documentary or something, or a movie about a guy with Tourette's. It's a Tourette's syndrome activist, right? And he, yeah, I don't know, won the award. So I'm sure it's a phenomenal film. But he was invited, right? And so during the BAFTAs, he kept yelling the F word at people, at the presenters. And when it was Michael B. Jordan and
Delroy Lindo.
yeah, and he yelled the N word at them when they went on stage, and then he excused himself, right? Which is not making light of this. Obviously, dude has Tourette's. You know, that's very uncomfortable. I think the whole thing was dealt with kind of uncomfortably. People were, "What do you do?" But then Jamie Foxx. I'm gonna go. Jamie Foxx is not my loser for the week, but he's gonna be a bonus loser. Went on to social media and was like, "The dude meant to say that." Uh, like, does Jamie Foxx know what Tourette's is? Like, what in the world? What a stupid thing to
Are you
say.
there? Hold on.
Yeah, got you.
You froze. Last thing I heard was Jamie Foxx said he meant to say that.
Yeah, Jamie Foxx said he meant to say that. Do you not know what Tourette's is, Jamie Foxx? Do you not know what? I mean, in order to say the dude meant to say that, you would have to have some, I think, background into him that he actually is a racist in his life. You know, and then maybe, sure, use the excuse of, oh, I got Tourette's to shout that out. If you don't know that, then keep your damn mouth shut, Jamie Foxx. What a fool.
Yeah. No, I only saw this video clip on Instagram of the guy shouting that. So that's how I knew what you were talking about, but I didn't even know who he was, or I didn't know that he was involved in this film. So now
Yeah,
this makes a lot more sense.
yeah,
And,
but
and I just
he
thought
like,
it was a guy. Yeah, I just thought it was a guy shouting. It said that he was a Tourette's activist, but the headline didn't say that he had Tourette's.
yeah, he has Tourette's and is a Tourette's activist. But anyway, the movie I Swear, I guess it won the award, so it must be good. Makes me want to see it now. Not that he shouted that, but just I'm gonna see it just to spite Jamie Foxx and his dumbass. Uh, okay, who is your hero?
So my hero related to films is airlines for their movie selections.
You basically have airlines. If somebody let me cancel any streamer I have right now, if they let me cancel Hulu, HBO, Netflix, all of it, and just let me sign up for airline movie, I would be on board.
I agree. And I'm opening this up. This applies for Delta, American Airlines, any airline that I've been on for the last 8 years. Has such a deep, great selection of movies and TV. It's like they got all Curb Your Enthusiasm, all this random stuff. And then the movies, they're don't go hard in any one genre. Like they happen to have the entire Harry Potter, whatever. But then they also have these independent films that they've won awards recently, but they're not available to stream at home yet. So I've been like looking forward to them. They somehow have 5 of those. I'm just like, they have the best person curating the experience. And this, of course, is in contrast to when we were young growing up. There was one movie that would play, and it would play on a screen that we had to all look at together. Like it wasn't on the screen behind the seat in front of you. So
Phenomenal. I doff my cap to you, airline movie curator, and airlines in general for doing all this. Thank you.
amazing work. The airlines do a lot wrong. And, if we want to put a 0, we can apply their food curator into that category. But the movie curator is doing the Lord's work.
Chef's kiss, chef's kiss. My hero for the week is Eileen Gu, the skier who won her 6th medal at these games, making her the most decorated freestyle skier of all time. She won 3 in Beijing, won 3 in Milano Cortina, and became a little bit of a lightning rod. She's born and raised in the U.S., San Francisco, goes to Stanford, skis for China. I can't remember if she's Chinese on her mom's or dad's side, but it doesn't matter. She's half Chinese, skis for China. JD Vance went on to opine that, I don't know, she's, we've educated her and paid, she lives our life here. She should ski for America, right? Now, there's a ton of ways that Gu could have responded. She could have gotten super political and been like, this is a country of immigrants and, blah, 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 blah. She could have just said nothing. She could have got whatever. However she could have responded. Did you see how she did respond? How she responded? I mean, yeah, I wondered obviously she's clearly highly intelligent. She got into Stanford super early. She's attending Stanford right now while being the most decorated female, free skier of all time. But the way she responded to JD Vance was, oh, that's so sweet. Like, he wants me. That's cute. Demeaning is that to Vance or to anybody who thought that? What a boss move to not go straight at him, because that's what they all want, right? They all want like a right between the eye kind of thing where they say, he is woke, blah, whatever they want to say. But to say, oh, that's cute, and just making JD the little baby is very funny. Well played. You got a 0.
Yeah, I do. To answer your question of how is it that the Epstein cover-up is top versus bottom. How do we as the bottom, who do we have to blame? Why can we, mobilize? Form a union, group together. So my 0 is the mainstream media.
Great.
The mainstream media for complete lack of coverage on the Epstein files and the Epstein cover-up, by the way. I know that they are owned and controlled by the billionaires whose names are actually being redacted in said files. So this is the reason. But this is the biggest news story of our time. No question about it. And the only narrative that they are feeding us, if they do talk about it, is about which files are being released or which ones aren't being released. But there's shockingly little being said about whose names are mentioned in the files, even the ones that aren't redacted. The crimes, they haven't talked about the crimes that are allegedly being committed, the things that we discussed at the beginning of this. And of course, there's 0 being done to investigate, prosecute, or arrest the criminals themselves. And they're not reporting on the cover-up itself, which is what I already said. But the reason that we know that there is factually a cover-up is because you have independent reporters showing, just one example of the cover-up is showing that certain files were released by the DOJ and then later not available on their website. And with proof, you can go in the Wayback Machine and you could find it. You could check it yourself. But with certain of these files, they were so poorly redacted, by the way, that you could copy the PDF, highlight all the text, including the redactions, and just paste it into Microsoft Word. And in the Word document, it shows it without the blackouts. That's how inept the administration is at doing the cover-up. I've seen other examples where there's supposed to be a video attached, or a video is mentioned in the document, and the URL says PDF at the end, .pdf. You could just go to the PDF and write MP4 instead and click enter, and the video pops up that's associated with the files. So the independent reporters are savvy enough to be able to figure out the loopholes to see the redactions. But my point is, these are YouTubers, these are freelance reporters that are using their social media accounts. They're building searchable databases. They're building software that then allows us to do easy, faster searches. They're connecting all the themes and connections because it feels like the 3 million dump is a way to overwhelm, because Congress is going to have to vote on this stuff or have to call to account the powers that be. How can they sift through the 3 million? They only get a certain amount of time to go into the room with the computer, with the non-redacted documents. And so how can they know how to search and collate all the information? So thankfully, these independent reporters are doing the work and then supplying the member of Congress and helping them kind of sift through it all. But when I watch mainstream media, not only are they not reporting on the biggest news story of our time, but in my view, the reason they're my zero today is because they're now complicit in a cover-up through omission. And I had to listen to months and months of conjecture about Hillary Clinton's potential emails, about Hunter Biden's potential laptop, ad nauseum. And the worst implications of what was in those things isn't even 1/100th as vile and evil as what we now know are the true crimes of the people running our country that are in the Epstein files.
Here, big zero. Can't wait till I would love for MSM just to actually crash and burn, like for enough independent. I think people are obviously peeling well away from getting the news from MSM anymore just because it's not trustworthy, right? And so, yeah, the rise of a problem, or not that it's a problem, but, I guess the trouble is that these independent journalism, you got to find the ones who are trustworthy. But I suppose in the marketplace, it sorts out, right? If somebody's not trustworthy, then people will hopefully stop listening unless you're just wanting to get spoon-fed propaganda.
Trustworthiness, of course, but if you're let's start with just reporting the news.
Yeah.
So if you are reporting the news and then you have some editorial going with it, like sharing your opinion on it or something, I can suss that out. I can navigate through that. But let's just start with reporting the news. We're at a point now where the mainstream media is not reporting the news.
Yeah. Crazy town. Well, just to end out here, my zero for the week is yours truly. I am my own zero for the week. Saturday night, kid's a 13-year-old now, right? And went 13 hard, like is with buddies and doesn't want to hang out ever with the folks anymore, right? It used to be like doing stuff together all the time, just gone. Like, so I was like, family night. We're going to family night this one up. We're going to go see a movie. Do I have to? Yes, you have to. Can I go to a friend's? Can I go see a movie with a friend? Nope, you're coming with us. We're going to see a movie. And I thought to myself, movie, let's make it a literary movie. Let's go see Wuthering Heights as a family. Uh-oh.
Is there a lot of sex?
There's no graphic nudity, but there is all kind of, let's say, I'm just going to say there's a scene in which a woman gets a horse bridle put in her mouth. I'm just going to leave that there for you. And yeah, she was like in the middle, she's like, what? Like just realizing the apparent fail in slow motion as it's going of like, I should have maybe read something about this movie. I should have. And then trying to justify it after, like, well, yeah, I was like, where she's like, that was shocking. And I'm like, yeah, sure, it was, sure, but it was art, right? Like, it's art. And the Bronte sisters, they were, wrote in a time when no women, think about that, like trying to really direct from you, yep, I should have not.
Did you stay till the bitter end?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Was the movie good otherwise?
It's good. It goes a bit long, but it's really, really good. Yeah. The Jacob Elordi and Margot Robbie give phenomenal performances. The costume design, the set design, all of it is like really, it goes on for a long time, but it's really a good movie.
That level of cringe and discomfort with your kids sitting next to you. Ooh, I remember being the
Man.
kid in that
And
scenario.
that's the thing too, is I'm not like, she watches R-rated movies regularly. Like it's not like it's, but it was that kind of thing where it was, again, no nudity, but it was like that kind of thing where it's beyond a sex scene kind of, just it's like a very adult themed.
It's in a
There's
kink.
another scene where, yeah, a girl has a dog collar around her and it's like uncomfortable. You'd be uncomfortable as an adult watching, right? You know what they were doing, you know what they were getting at, but it would still, there's a level of discomfort, and then shoveling that level of discomfort on your 13-year-old daughters, yeah, spoon that down.
Full 13-year. I mean, she is at the age where you do not want those images seared into the brain.
I mean, again, though, justifying the parent fail, some of me thinks afterwards, well, better now than later.
I
Like I was
guess.
sitting right there, your
Yeah.
mom was sitting right there. Like we could have a discussion about it afterwards. So what are you gonna do?
That's so funny.
Well, anything else to share?
That's all I got.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. As always, David Lee Scales, thank you so much, dear listener. If you care to see this performance and this show and my Raglan what is it?
Raglan Surf Report.
I don't know how I forgot that. Raglan Surf Report hat that you can probably go get at Raglan Surf Report somewhere on Instagram, I would imagine. Fine hat.
Indeed, I have my own.
Okay, well, great. See you all next week and have a good one.
Do you want me to spell crap?